Preston, how's it going? Uh, okay, I guess. Kind of tired, but other than that, Mr. Ben, how are you? It's your B day. I really want to. I really want to make an exception and play my birthday song. This man's just crawling out of bed. I got a cat on me. I could play it, but it's technically copyright. I could just not care though. Surely it won't be a big deal. Yeah, just me and cat. Frickin' cat. Game playing, I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm not feeling particularly inspired. Slim some die, yeah, we could do that. What the hell is this? Mahjong? There was a game that was supposed to come out yesterday that I wanted to play, but then they like changed the release date to today. Except stuff doesn't tend to come out on Steam until like lunchtime. So it's not technically out yet. I waste my free time on 2 Point Museum. That's what I do. Shapes. You're the best, thanks. Why is my YouTube chat being weird? Stop. Stop being weird. Oh, The Witness is 75% off. I should play The Witness. It's a great puzzler. I like puzzle. We're gonna play the food game. Everyone loves the food game. Big patch on food game. I just know if I play the food game, Crassus is gonna come in here and be upset with me because he hates the food game. What is the food game? It's a game where you make food. You press buttons on the keyboard and you make the food. That's pretty much it. No, not Overcooked. I don't know if it has a good video. Maybe we'll just boot up food game. Is it downloaded? It is. Oh. I'm just in that place right now where you're like... You're looking for that thing that you want to waste about 50 hours on. Not that you want to waste today on. You're a Git queen. Are you? Too big.
Good one. Wasn't my shirt was yeah, I remember. In my office. How are you doing?
Wow, that bot has a badge. Speedons 5. What even is that? And I kind of got this headache and it doesn't help. Oh, Crassus, how are you? I almost started the food game, Crassus. I almost did it. What's that? It's sake. What's that? I don't know how you say it really. I think it's Nagori, but I'm not sure. Yeah, of course. I might wait because there's a guy who's I got it MD Liquor. It's the only one they had, and it's not. Why don't you hand it over here? It's not like a lot of sake is clear, but this one, this particular kind, the Nagori kind, it has like rice solids in it, so it's not. It's unfiltered.
A type of sake like videos, and it looks like that. It's like milk.
Yeah, it's like a milky kind of thing. It's 10% alcohol. Yeah, there's a guy that I don't know if you look at my Discord, but there's a guy that's in my channel sometimes who's in Japan right now, and he's been trying a whole bunch of sakes. So I kind of want maybe I'll just wait for him to get back from Japan to try it. But yeah, it's probably like somewhat fruity, but it's also probably somewhat like rice grain kind of flavor. And it's probably like way more on the like grainy flavor when it's like this white kind of creamy kind. But yeah, I picked this up yesterday when I was at the liquor store. It was hard to find actually. It's the only one that they have. Yeah. And I did read that this particular brand, this Gekai Khan, I don't know how you say that, that particular brand, like I don't know if, like some people said that's not like, it kind of tastes a little different than like sake normally tastes, so I don't know. But we're gonna try it anyway. We'll try it eventually. It looks milky, yeah, because it's Nagori. However you say that. So basically the difference between this and like typical sake is like the ones that you saw like Cap trying, is this one is unfiltered and has rice solids in it. So this is how they would have normally made it. Like traditionally, it would have been this kind of milky color with rice solids pressed into it, but the ones that you get now like are all like very filtered, so they're clear. But yeah, it's something I kind of I picked up. I see that they had some. I picked one up, so we'll try it eventually. Yeah, I mean it doesn't have to be refrigerated, but it probably lasts longer if it's refrigerated. Yeah, I don't know what the shelf life is of that stuff. It's probably like the same as beer. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Like when I got it, it was actually like clear, and I was and it was like a whole bunch of sediment was at the bottom, and I was like, oh, is this like when you have bottle carbonation and you have yeast sediment at the bottom of the bottle? And it's like, no, that's actually rice solids. You're supposed to shake it in, and once I shook it in, the whole thing became white. Yeah, you got to shake it. Because the rice solids all settle at the bottom. In a can? Yeah. That's the only one they had up there. I know last time I was there, they had like 4 or 5 different kinds, and some of them are really expensive. They're like $20 a bottle. That one was like $12, I think, for that little bottle. Can we get sushi? I don't need sushi. You know that. I've got you in my sights. That's the wrong game. One of the things I also almost did today is I almost bought that Final Fantasy pack and downloaded the voice acting mod for the first game, Final Fantasy 1. And tried that. Almost did that. Oh shit, here we are.
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom. Well, I guess that's a kaboom. I suppose. Well, hello. Well, hello, friends. Welcome to my broadcast. Oh shit, that scene's broken. Hi. Hello, hi. Hi. It's me, I'm the blood boiler. I don't boil blood that much anymore though. So I hope you're okay with that. Thank you, Mr. Thor. I appreciate you. Turn that down a little bit. We're probably gonna play some Odenfall. Yeah, not that much anymore. I used to play games to piss people off. That was fun. That was a fun time in my 20s. But the name stuck. Anyway, we'll probably play some of this in a little bit. And now we're just like talking about stuff. But thank you. Thank you for bringing your community here to my humble broadcast. I kind of play random stuff, random whatever stuff. But if you're a fan of fine spirits, refined spirits like scotch, bourbon, rum, cognac, you're in the right place. We do lots of spirits tasting in this. What do I have down here? Got sitting around down here. We have the Aberfeldy 21-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey. What else is down here? Only boils his own blood with alcohol. Yeah, seems what happens. We got Martell VSOP cognac. What else is down here? We got Highland Park cask strength. What's this? The Balvenie 14-year-old We got some random stuff. These are unopened, but I have about, I don't know. I have like 120 spirits between Scotch, whiskey, Scotch, bourbon, rum, vodka. We do about an hour of spirits related content every day. We're gonna do a live review today in about 2 hours time. So if you're into that kind of thing, you're in the right place. You're in the right place. Don't know how much of it is your voice versus your microphone versus your audio filters, but your voice is velvet silk. Thank you, Dr. Buttercar. I appreciate it. I'm playing around. All those sound great. Yeah, so these are just the ones that happen to be on the floor. There's like, I don't know, 15 floor whiskeys right now. Which is bad considering we just stocked a whole cabinet. There's a cabinet right here. If I owned an AM radio station, I'd put you on for at least 3 to 5 hour daily segment. That's perfect. That would be perfect. Perfect location. Yeah. So, this is the right camera. Right? This is like mostly behind the scenes shit, but ooh, there's the green screen. That's all it is. That's where the magic happens. But right there, right here, that black cabinet, there's about, I don't know, 100 bottles in there. Of all this kind of stuff. We do tastings. We're tasters here. We don't like sit here and do shots. None of that shot stuff. We like to give notes, describe our refined experience. So that, any of that sounds interesting to you, you're in the right place. But here, how about Mr. Thor? Are you Mr. Thor? Are you still here? You hang. Look. How about? Okay, look. How about you find something in there real quick and easy, and we'll do a little tasting right now. Since we're talking about it, just for you. Especially at this hour. Yeah, I work overnight. Oh, we also have Cat. If you like Cat, Cat is here. There's two of these little suckers. But normally it's just Orange Cat. It used to be always Fat Cat, but Fat Cat doesn't want to come up here anymore. No, it's an orange girl. I got one of the 15% of orange females. Don't worry, she's kind of just as much of an idiot sometimes. Crown Royal single malt? Yeah, we can do that. We can do that just for you. Yeah, so I work overnight. I'm an overnight worker, so normally I do the stream and then I go to bed. So I know this is not the typical hour to be consuming alcohol, but bear with me, okay? My world is upside down. Look, I gotta go find this thing. It's in there somewhere.
Still sane, Exile?
Still saying? Oh, no. Never. Cat, what are you doing to my microphone? Alright, I'm gonna go get to Glenn and some water. I'll be right back. Darlene, are you gonna hold down the fort just for like 10 seconds? Are you going to need your own? Do you want this one? Your butt is right in the camera. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go grab some stuff. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Sometimes when the cat's up here, I randomly get muted. Who would have thought? Yeah, normally we do this about daily, some kind of content like this, but we'll do a special extra session here just for our friend Mr. Thor. We have the Crown Royal single malts. This is not your typical Crown Royal, your blended Canadian whiskey Crown Royal. This is a single malt Crown Royal. So that's 100% malted barley from a single distillery. So when we talk about single malt whiskey, single means single distillery required to do all the process, including ferment and distill and barrel. Have you tried that one yet? I have. And then malt is 100% malted barley. And of course, this is Crown Royal, so we have our luxurious bag here. Delicately crafted in the Canadian cold. Hey, you. You're just being a little bit of a nuisance. Yeah, so here we are. This is the bag it comes in as a very special limited edition sort of bag. This is a limited edition product. They don't make it all the time. And then we'll just undress that guy. Ooh la la. Oh my god, look at that. Ooh. And of course, this is still a screw cap. It's not a cork. You just want attention. I know. You just want attention. You can't show the bottle with your butt in the way. Hey, can you sit for a second? Here it is. Crown Royal single malt, delicately crafted Canadian cold, 100% Canadian single malt whiskey. This is from the Valleyfield Distillery, so it's not the one that most of the Crown comes from. It's a different kind of distillery in I think it's near Montreal, if that's right. But ultimately, this is a Diageo product, a giant corporate entity called Diageo, which produces 40% roughly of all Scotch whiskey, and also produces brands you might know such as Johnny Walker, Smirnoff, Don Julio, Captain Morgan. If you know all these brands, this is the same giant megacorp that produces Crown Royal. Your farm is near Valleyfield. Wow, look at that. You're nearby. Swing by and get some Canadian single malt whiskey. This is 45% alcohol or 90 proof. It is chill filtered and does have color added. So it does go through a chill filtration process so that if it is put on ice or anything like that, it doesn't get any wispies. There's no long chain fatty acids or whatever they call them left in there. Some people don't know, but basically any whiskeys that are not bourbon are subject to E150 caramel coloring. They can or cannot choose to use this caramel coloring. So this is probably not the actual color of this thing out of the barrel, but things come out of the barrel at varying different colorations. So they kind of allow you to use caramel coloring such that, say you have a batch that is lighter or darker than normal or something like that. You might get your bottle and be like, hey, this doesn't look right. Is there something wrong with it? And, well, no, there's nothing wrong with it. There's just natural variation in the liquid that comes out of the wood. But in order to maintain the consistency of their product, they allow you to use caramel coloring. So some of this is probably some extra tie-dye, some extra color here. But This is 10 years aged in new charred oak barrels in Canada. What do you think the natural color of that would have been? Well, one of the ways I can kind of describe to you visually is, you know, we have bottles of Shelter Point. So this is a different Canadian distillery from Vancouver. And this is natural color. So this bottle in particular is roughly 5 years old. And the color is like that, natural color. This is 10 years. It's about that much darker. So it may not be that far off, but you never know. You never know how much. But it doesn't seem like it's that far off. And again, this is aged in new charred oak barrels, same that you would use for bourbon. So that's a pretty good coloration. So it might just be a little bit of color, just to make it consistent. But it doesn't seem like it's egregiously colored like you get from Bamor or Dalmore or similar. Yeah, this is roughly 10 years in new charred oak. Vanilla and banana? Yeah, there might be some banana. Probably some vanilla. Shelter Point seaweed gush. You want to try some of this?
Aggressive balls.
Yeah. My wife's gonna try some of it first. She'll give us the deets here. We can get the spinner out. Got all these bottles in the way. Ooh, yeah, she's being real needy.
I didn't. Like, it's okay. It's not that it's not good. It's really.
It's a smooth whiskey. Yeah, it's tame.
I've been trying all of your.
Yeah,
Stuff,
yeah. It's gonna be a smooth drinking Canadian whiskey. All right. So yeah, it's been a minute since I had a mom appearance. Yeah, she's trying not to consume extras right now. She's on a strict diet, so she doesn't want to take in extra alcohol. Get her enough whiskey and she'll show up on stream. Yeah, enough Irish stuff. You should join her for solidarity. You want me to stop consuming alcohol? Is this really what you want? Anyway, right off the nose for me. Again, there's a slight light citrus character, like a bright, shiny kind of lemon. I do get like a deeper kind of a fruit note though, but it's kind of like it's hidden behind like some butteriness. Like there's maybe like a light fruit note, like it's not quite pineapple, but it's like a light bright fruit. But there's like kind of like a rich, buttery, creamy kind of character to it. Yeah, it's like a nondescript tropical fruit. It's not like pineapple, but it's like, it's a brighter fruit, like brighter than an orchard fruit, but it's not quite got that pineapple tang part to it. But there's like a tropical fruity kind of note. Like someone who is more versed might say like maybe it's like lychee or dragon fruit or some kind of fruit like that that I don't know very well. But there's a slight maltiness and there's a general low end kind of sweetness that's probably like caramel. Very creamy though. Not much spice to it. But mostly slightly citrus, slightly like caramel cream. With like a kind of a slight fruity aspect. Like a lighter fruity aspect. So we're going to try it on the palate. Cheers. Kind of right on the entry of the palate. You still have some of that like lemon citrus kind of note and that kind of creamy cream caramel on the bottom with a little bit of maltiness and a little bit of like, again, that lighter fruit. So similar to what you get on the aroma is what you get on the palate. Into the finish, you do get a little bit of like a slight baking spice character, more of that like creaminess, and you kind of fade out with like oak. Kind of like you might with like bourbon. There's like an oaky kind of woody note at the back end of the finish. Finish is like medium minus length. Now they probably are going to talk about vanilla on this bottle. Usually I don't kind of read the notes. Give my own personal subjective opinion because notes are so subjective and notes are so personal. Two people are going to drink the same whiskey and they're not going to get the same exact nose out of them because, again, anytime you taste something, your flavor memory is subjective to you. So your brain is going to rack itself for any food that you can compare it to that you've personally had in the past that you can kind of say, hey, it tastes kind of like this that I've tasted before. But everyone has their own food preferences. Everyone has a different diet. Some people have never eaten certain things. For example, I'm allergic to hazelnuts. I could never give you a hazelnut note because I do not eat those. I can't. So this could have a hazelnut note, but I could never tell you. So everyone's personal flavor recall is subjective. So everyone's notes are going to be a little different. The box does talk about smooth whiskey with hints of creamy vanilla and a smooth cinnamon spice finish. That's pretty much all it says for notes on the box. And I would kind of agree with that. Like what I would call a creamy caramel sweetness, the box is maybe talking about a creamy vanilla sweetness. It does mention cinnamon spice on the finish. I don't think it's exactly cinnamon for me, but there's like a baking spice element to the finish. And I think that hits right on. But again, everyone's notes are so personal and subjective. You can't be wrong. That's one of the things you got to remember when you're tasting spirits is you can't be wrong. Unless you bullshit. Don't bullshit. But it's a little bit bullshit because everyone's taste is so different and subjective. But you can't be wrong. Like again, for me, there's a little bit of this kind of lemony citrus note at the top, and you know, you might not get that, or you might kind of detect that as maybe it's more orange for you, maybe it's lemon rind, maybe it's more lime, you know. Everything's all subjective. But there is objective compounds in the whiskey that'll make you smell certain things. And what I might describe as creamy caramel, you might describe as creamy vanilla. But we're talking about the same thing in our own subjective way. How's this compared to regular Crown? Got to be very different. I don't have a regular Crown bottle, and I haven't had regular Crown in a very long time. But Again, monthly we do a vote for a community bottle tasting. Next weekend we're doing a community bottle tasting, and we actually had a tie between this one here, Crown Royal Harvest Rye. I also got a Aberlour 12-year-old Speyside single malt. So I do actually have a Crown Royal Harvest Rye right here that I'm not going to open right now. We're going to open it on Saturday. If you guys are interested in that. But on Saturday, about once a month on a Saturday, I do a vote, and we try to find a bottle that's easily for anybody to get in case they want to do a taste along. So on Saturday, we're going to do a taste along with this Crown Royal Northern Harvest Rye. So when we try this on Saturday, we might be able to do a bit of a comparison with the single malt. But again, this is not exactly the same as the regular Crown Royal. This is like a cross section, if you will, of the regular Crown Royal. So what's a rye? Well, so rye. Now, let's be a little specific, a little pedantic, I suppose. But in Canada, sometimes when we say rye, we just mean whiskey. That's not what this means. It's not rye in terms of just calling it whiskey. Sometimes in Canada, you are allowed... Actually, it is in the legal rules. If you want to just write Canadian rye on the bottle, that counts as calling it Canadian whiskey, because we're weird up here. But rye is actually a grain. So this is the rye component, basically, of Crown Royal. So when you make Crown Royal... essentially what happens is you have a corn whiskey, and you have a malt whiskey, and you have a rye whiskey, and you have a malted rye whiskey, and those whiskeys are separate, but then are blended together to create Crown Royal. But this one in particular is simply the rye portion. So this is just the rye of the Crown Royal. This particular bottle only contains the rye components. Now, rye is a different grain than malt. It's much spicier. Sometimes you get notes like licorice or pine or dill or star anise. This kind of thing isn't normally present in rye whiskeys. So we're going to see with this one how it holds up. It'll be a little different than normal Crown. But this one... once upon a time, part of the meme with this one, the Crown Royal Harvest Rye, is once upon a time, several years ago, there was a whiskey critic of some note who called Crown Royal Harvest Rye his whiskey of the year. Of all the whiskeys, of all the scotches and bourbons, and all the Japanese whiskeys that you know, Crown Royal Harvest Rye was the best whiskey for him of that year. So... that's why we always kind of meme a little bit about Crown Royal Harvest Rye, is because it doesn't seem like it's anything special, but this particular critic thought it was very special. And of course, once he said it was his whiskey of the year, it was flying off the shelf and all this sort of thing. So we'll try some. Can't trust a guy like that. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, we'll see if the Crown Royal Harvest Rye is up to snuff these days. Again, that was so many years ago. Maybe the Crown Royal Harvest Rye in that particular year was so good. But we'll see if how good it is this year. But yeah, this is mostly rye. I believe this is not 100% rye whiskey. It's probably like 90% rye whiskey. But it would be essentially the rye component of Crown Royal. So we're not going to compare this today, but maybe on Saturday we'll do a little. We'll break this out and do a tasty taste. But I actually says right on the bottle 90% rye whiskey. So that other 10% is probably corn or barley or something like that. But it's probably somewhat similar to Crown Royal, but only the rye spicy kind of components. And of course, this one is 45% alcohol. So. Thankfully, Crown Royal is doing something right. They're buffing the proof up a little bit. It's not 40%, it's 45. So, again, we'll give that a taste on Saturday, along with the Aberlour 12-year double cask. And we'll probably do these Saturday around 2 p.m. Eastern time. So if anyone wants to taste along, be here. We're going to fresh crack these on Saturday. If you want to try to get a bottle of Harvest Rye and taste along with us, these are not terribly expensive. So I don't know if you can get these in the American market super easily, but these are not particularly expensive. So we'll do that on Saturday. And of course, we just pop up regular bottles every Wednesday. So every Wednesday, we'll open one of these things here. And today, later, we'll do a review. We'll do a full review. But yeah, not bad. It's not bad. It's not my favorite Canadian whiskey. I personally would probably take like anything from Shelter Point over this Crown Royal Single Malt personally. I find the Shelter Point products just have more character and are more expressive and are higher proof, but this is probably a bump up from your typical Crown product. And I can't see nothing. So yeah. So yeah, we do some tastings like this every day. Usually it's around an hour and a half from now. But we're always up to talk about whiskey around here. Always talk about spirits. If you got questions, you're interested, you're in the right place. You're in the right place for that. Honestly, whatever I'm doing, I will pause whatever I'm doing to talk about some fine spirits. And of course, if you're a Discord user, we have all kinds of spirits related content in this Discord. I post all my reviews get posted there. Talk about news, different kinds of spirits. Some people do their own little tastings in there. So if you're into that sort of thing, pop on in. That's kind of like also the main hub for anything on this broadcast. So if I post any kind of news updates or anything, it's all in there. Again, like we've talked about recently, Discord is my only social media, and to me, I do think it's social media, but it's my only social connection. So to enter my Discord is to follow my Instagram or Twitter or whatever. All my news is in there. No bottle shopping video. There's one posted. It's in the inside scoop though. You have the inside scoop. You're an inside scooper. It should be in there. If you haven't seen it, it's in there. And that was an interesting one. Again, it didn't come out exactly as good as I hope. And I think part of it is because my phone is like 2.5 years old now. So I could use an upgrade for the camera to do that kind of thing. But also like, it's just like, I have to walk slower and I have to move the camera slower and I have to tilt the camera better. And it's a learning experience to film those things. But if you are a subscriber in Discord, there is a bottle shopping video every time. I think that's kind of how I'm going to do it. Is anytime if I'm out of town, but that's not very often. But if I go shopping for our community bottles, I'll do a video of me going shopping for the community bottles. So anyone who has a subscription in, I think my Discord is unlinked. You don't have Mosley fans? Yeah, you should have Mosley fans too. Yeah, there's some extra content in Discord for you if you're a subscriber and you have your account linked. It says you have the roles. It says you have the roles in Discord, so you should be able to see it. I would just make sure it's not like it's in that section called Content Vault. So I would just make sure that it's not like minimized or something like that. Oh shit! Hold on. Okay, I think something fucked up. Let me see if I can fix it for you. Because I think I know what happened. So am I showing Spirit reviews? Yeah, just give me 1 minute. Yeah, I had a problem where for some reason the linkage wasn't updating, so I had to do something, and I think it might have fucked something up with the view permission. I don't know how that happened, though. How did that happen? Let's see if that fixed it. No, it didn't fix it. What the hell happened with that? Oh, it's so annoying. Hold on. Oh, I didn't sync the permissions. Fuck. Damn it. Yeah, so a thing happened where my permissions weren't updating properly, and I think I did a thing where now the permissions are not syncing to the channel, but I'll fix it. I'll fix it right now. It's very important to me. Add members. Sync, no, don't. Keep current permissions. Why was that changed? I didn't do that. Discord being weird. Okay, it should be fixed now. It should be all fixed now. It's weird though, because some people were able to look at it because of the view count. The video is unlisted, and some people were able to watch it. So clearly, it wasn't broken for everybody. Anyway, it should be fixed now. Excellent. Perfect. Yeah, you wouldn't want to miss out on your X-rated XXX hot Mosley pictures, okay? Which I need to post more often, but my goal was to post one every day, and right now I'm posting like 2 a week. But we'll get better at it. It's the content I'm here. Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, so the bottle shopping is in there. But one other thing I wanted to say was that it was actually kind of interesting because since I'm in Canada, there was no American alcohol in the whole store, and there was a lot of empty shelves. So it's kind of interesting a little bit if you're from. It almost kind of felt like COVID. I actually probably should dig up that picture, but I have a picture right when COVID started of me going to the grocery store, and the like produce section was empty. That's the first time I've ever seen that. I was like, what the fuck? There's like 2 bananas. But it's kind of similar a little bit in that video because there's no American alcohol up here right now. So like these places that are used to having all American bourbon, whiskey, American rums, wine, and beer had no American alcohol in the whole store. So there's just shelves that are empty, or like products that normally would have like 2 facings have like 10 facings to try to make up the space. So it's real interesting. But it's a little better shot than the last one I shot. But I still need to like get better at shooting them. I could probably use a camera upgrade, and I just need to like personally be better at shooting them. But yeah, so it's in there on Discord if you guys are into that. So we'll play about an hour and a half or so of some Odenfall. Play some Odenfall. And then we'll do a live review. What level is this character? 9. I think they did a patch since I was last playing this, so that might be good. Yeah, so there's a level cap of 15, which wasn't obvious at first. Anyway, we'll keep leveling up this chick, I guess. What are my challenges here? 10 Ice Fairy kills, Ghoul kills using shell weapons, and 20 Techno Viking kills using explosive weapons. Microwave gun. Man, this water's in my way. Homing pistol. Ow. Easy does it. Easy does it. You can get shit in there. Let's pump up this volume just a slight little bit. Legendary Killer Cactus. Rolling torch, buzzer, big mag. Should big mag the homing pistol? Those can stay there. Ooh, 5 weapons in the shop? Dash deals damage, power charges, berserk heals. Bouncer SMG? Triple chamber. Don't have any money for that. Pretty good, I guess. Ow. This gun's kind of gnarly. Burst SMG, no. Ow. Ow. Why hurting? Why hurt me? I'm not being very careful with that acid. Nail shotgun? The real question is, if I step on my own nails, do I take damage? No. Ow. What's this? Grenade launcher, shotgun. Add burst mag? I need to stomp something. Ammo capacity up. How much do I have? 485. I could get big mag and ammo capacity. I have lots of ammos. I think this is the one they patched so it doesn't have dogs in it anymore. No, just kidding. There's definitely still dogs in here. Do I want to train? Change to a triple SMG? Let's try it. Come into my minefield. Yes, that's it. Come into my minefield. What is that? A rocket launcher? Oh shit, Techno Viking. Ow. This is going very poorly. Techno Viking's not dead yet? I kind of figured he would just run over all my little nails and just die. Clearly not. Boom. Ammo's still not full on this gun. Empty. Ow. God damn it. Well, that didn't work so well. Nail gun, maybe not it. I kind of hate that level too, though. Wow, the accuracy on that gun is terrible. This was a laser gun, but I guess it's missiles. Ow. Okay. What's that? Scope? I mean, I'll pick it up, but it's not terribly useful right now. $90% off a submachine gun. What about the slugger? That's a good one. Double chamber. A double slugger. Boom. Boom. What's that? Laser burster. That's new. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Fuck. I don't think I've ever tried this gun before. Shoots like a... Oh, okay, so it's a burst laser. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Terrible weapon. Says who? Oh my fuck. Can't afford that. Get in the supply stash. Burst shotgun. Don't mind if I do. A drill. Homing star. This is not what I remember this weapon being. I must be thinking of something else. Ow. I think the 3 stages just suck. I should just do the 4. Oh. God damn it. I need to go back to the moose, I think, man. The moose was more OP. This character seems mid. Or I gotta use a melee weapon, maybe. Yeah, it's pretty hard to do a melee weapon thing when you can't get a melee weapon. Give me an axe. Ow. shit. Triple cannon, bucket of nails? I don't think that really does very much. No, it doesn't. Primordial homing chip. Come and get me, you dirty fiends. Oh my god, fuck it. No ammo. That's bad. God damn it. I hate this character. Fuck it. Let's go back to the moose, man. Moose is OP. Boom. There's something up here. Cactus. I have a javelin, stay away. Told you to stay away. Ice ruin? Burster. Dash charges. These guns are pretty mid. Submachine gun. Do I want to go to Filthy Phillies? Yeah, that's near my work now. Puff Daddy's mini pancakes? Is that at Filthy Phillies? Puff Daddy's mini pancakes. It's a weird looking spot. It's a Philly cheesesteak counter. The big boss. I don't know, maybe. Let's do reach Fenrir's Den with 600 seconds of the run starting. I'll have to speedrun Fenrir's Den. Huh. What is that?
New electrolytes.
Electrolytes. Right. Free shipping on their powders. What kind of powders are you buying? Guys, mom's buying strange powders with, quote, free shipping, quote. What do we do? Bouncing javelin? Fly invulnerability? It's fizzing. Are you sure this is right? Are you sure whatever you bought is safe for human consumption? Alright guys, she has life insurance. It is I, Mooseman the Paladin. You cannot damage me. Is there anything down here? No. Bouncing? Bouncing? Is that cryo rifle? Ammo capacity, max HP. Scoped revolver. Double chamber. I wish I could sell some of my stuff. I want to like sell. Why do you harm me so? I need to get rid of my javelin. It's kind of suck now. I'm having an ammo issue a little bit. Big Mag. What is that hitting? Auto crossbow? Holy shit. Let's relax here. Ancient Torch Scorch Trench Gun. Is that worth? Yeah, that's probably worth. Man, I really can't afford anything, dude. I gotta lifesteal this crossbow. Hold on. Just think about this for a second. Crossbow probably wants Big Mag, Ice Rune. Lifesteal, and then maybe put the rest on this. Where did that other guy go? There he is. Acid Revolver. Holy fuck. What a mess. What the hell is that? Shredder. Scorch Popper. Oh shit, should have got that other chest. Oh well. Ow. Auto shotgun. Yeah, I don't know how much I like this popper. What's this? Beam rifle? What does this beam rifle feel like? Alright. Pretty sure I got this guy. So that means only one thing. The game's gonna crash before I kill him. That's some big loot. End run. Why did it drop me so much loot if it wants me to end the run? It's kind of a weird concept. Homing. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fine. New memory fragment unlocked. Hold on. I thought I could do like a different zone now. Training grounds. Coils of the Serpent. Well, you put all the juice boxes in front of the beer, so I had to move them out of the way to put the beer in. You couldn't leave the beer unrefrigerated. That's a crime. Can't afford, I'm broke. Okay. That clown show is over. I don't know. Well, if it's open, you're gonna have to contact them. Is it? Oh, is it open? Is it broken? Yeah. Yeah, you'll have to contact them. Oh. Oh, these are nasty. This fucking sludge, I can't fucking move. Oh my god. Damn it. Where are those bugs, man? Okay, so that guy kind of sucks. Those bugs fucking suck.
Seriously.
These have fucking junk on the ground too. What are you doing to the cat? He doesn't understand. Legendary pine cone. Holy shit. Poison mushrooms. Batman. Damn it. Pop rifle, eh? Let me drop down here. Ancient triple chamber. This knife is pretty dope, actually. Seems like the lifesteal just procs non-stop on it. I'm picking up health packs too, but... That was a shit ton of cash. There's fucking Beyblades everywhere, man. Unlucky. Oh, it's a dwarf. Tesla pistol. What does this dwarf do? I like dwarf. Deploys a turret. Oh man. All right. That's a good picture. Alright. Alright, enough of you, enough of you. What? My gooseness. Ugh. You're back, cat. Can't see nothing. Alright, see if we can find a thing. Find a thing and do a review. A live review. A live spirits review. Cat. No. That one's already done. You goober. That one's already done. I do gotta get these posted today. Well, you want to review that Blanton's? Okay. Blanton? You want to review Blanton's, cat? Yeah, this one I think is vanilla. It's just straight vanilla, man. I think probably you give it 5 minutes in the glass and it's just vanilla. But again, it's this particular barrel. Hey. Hey, you. Hey, you booger. Alright, a new Glen. And I'll be right back. Okay, let's get rid of this. Get rid of that. Open this. That here. Close that. Open that. Open this. All right. So, if there's any Americans in the audience right now that are here, what day is this? In Americanese, what day is that? Okay. That's what I thought. I definitely have it written that this is April 3rd. 1 second. That is not right. March 4th. Okay. So today, live review of Blanton's original Bland's original single barrel. And this is a barrel that was dumped on March 4th, 2024, for barrel number 631. So this is again, Bland's is a single barrel product. So all the liquid in this bottle comes from a single barrel, whereas most whiskey that you get is vatted. It is a bunch of barrels vatted together and then bottled. But any single barrel products are a little bit unique because you get the characteristics, the pros and the cons, the unbalances and the rough edges that exist in that one single barrel. So this is a single barrel product from the Buffalo Trace Distillery, which is owned by Sazerac, which owns numerous brands I'm sure you've heard of, like Fireball, Stag, E.H. Taylor, Sazerac Rye, Pappy Van Winkle, Weller. These are all Sazerac products. And this is this product in particular is Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 46.5% ABV, 93 proof. I believe it is chill filtered, but I'm not 100% sure. I have it written as chill filtered here anyway. And the ages of the blends are roughly 6 to 8 years old. So despite the fact this is a single barrel and they provide some information about the dumping, they don't actually provide any information about the year it was distilled in and when it was barreled in. So whiskey, yeah. So we don't actually know how old it is, but roughly these blends end up being between 6 and 8 years of age. This is mash bill number 2. So Buffalo Trace has several mash bills, which we don't know exactly what they are. But the mash bill number 2 is a high rye mash bill. with more than 15% rye in the mash. They also have like a lower rye mash bill, but the Blanton's comes from the high rye mash bill. So that's the same mash bill that you would get, for example, with Ancient Age. If you know of that whiskey, Ancient Age, it would be the same mash bill as Ancient Age. It is not the same mash bill as Buffalo Trace proper. That is the lower rye mash bill, I believe. And this is, all these Blanton's bottles come from warehouse age. So despite the fact that it looks like this is handwritten warehouse age on here, they all come from warehouse age. It's a metal cladded warehouse at Buffalo Trace. So that is the gist of this particular bottle. Again, this is a 2024 dumping. So we're going to rate this at a 100. 25 for the aroma, 25 for the palate, 25 for finish, 10 for texture, and 15 for my personal experience. And if it matters to you, this horsey has the letter O on it. And that cork is thick and chunky, that's for sure. It's been quite a while since I think we had anything out of this Blanton's. But this Blanton's is, this particular barrel, for me has been very, very vanilla forward, very vanilla bomb, kind of notes here. So we'll see if that's still the case. Where is it produced? This Blanton's is produced at the Buffalo Trace Distillery. That is in Kentucky, of course. We got all kinds of extras here. And yeah, I was able to acquire this. I actually went out and acquired this. There was a drop. I can't remember when it was. I think it was in October sometime. There was a drop at one liquor store in our city, and it said there was like 30 bottles, and by the time I got there, and I got there maybe like half an hour after the store opened, there was like 4 bottles left. It also said they had about 10 or 12 of the Blanton's Green, which is like the 40% alcohol one, and that one was sold out when I got there. That being said, there was no real concern because later on at the Spirits Festival, they had so many Blanton's. They had tons and tons and tons of Blanton's, like cases and cases and cases of both the regular and the green label. And I already had one, so I didn't feel like I needed to buy another one at the time. But in that Spirits Festival, I was there on the first day and they had some, and then I was there on the last day, like maybe 1 or 2 hours before the end of the festival, where like there was nothing good left, quote unquote, and they still had cases and cases and cases of Blanton's, regular and green label. I still didn't buy any then because it's like, I already have a Blanton. I don't need another Blanton. They're fine. Like, it's not like, I know it's like sought after in the United States, but to me, I'm just going to drink it. So it's just bourbon to me. And it was just strange because these are so kind of like, coveted a little bit. But at the whiskey festival where we had so many fucking Blantons. Like, no, there was more than they could sell. They ended up on regular liquor store shelves afterwards, which eventually they did sell out. But there was so many. Australia, we only get small access to Kentucky whiskeys. Yeah, we have a better than average selection compared to like overseas markets because I'm in Canada. So it's not nearly as good as in the United States. Within the United States, they have so much more selection and so much more variation of products. But typically in Canada, we get like a slightly better selection than say you would get in Europe or like in Australia. But obviously things are weird right now, and you cannot buy American alcohol in Canada right now. So there's no American alcohol at all, not even wine and beer. So it's a weird time, but normally this is not that bad to come by. If you want a Blanton's where I am, you can get one if you just kind of wait for the few times a year they release. Work for Bottle Shop, pretty much just Beam, Turkey Jack, and some no-name brands and some others. Yeah, you probably have some Heaven Hill stuff too, I imagine, like Elijah Craig. Like, it might be a proof-to-down version of like Elijah Craig. Probably that kind of thing, yeah. But yeah, we get like a slightly better selection here in Canada in normal times. But if you look at the kinds of things they have at any run-of-the-mill store in the United States, it's crazy. They have all kinds of cask strengths and barrel picks and store picks and all kinds of stuff. So, got plenty of Scotch. Yeah, again, I'm a Scotch enjoyer, so again, it's the same here. Despite the fact that I'm in Canada, I have access to more Scotches than I have Canadian whiskeys. But which letter do you have? This particular bottle is the letter O. I don't know if it's going to be visible on the camera, but yeah, there's a letter O on this particular one. And again, like I was saying, I probably, if I really wanted to get the whole word, I probably could have gone through those cases they had and tried to make a whole Blanton. But all right, Connor. Thanks for popping in. Have a good day at work. But yeah, so yeah. Although, to be honest, I think the reason why we have access to more Scotch than we have even Canadian whiskey in Canada is simply just because that there is so much a variety of Scotch that gets produced, and there really isn't that many distilleries in Canada compared to like Scotch distilleries, right? Like, there's just so much Scotch that gets made. We don't have nearly as many Canadian distilleries in the country, I think, is all it is. But yeah, we have all kinds of Scotch around here. Good selection for sure. Which is good for me. I love Scotch. I love Scotch. But today we're talking about Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. It's hard to make a bad Scotch. Depends. It depends. It depends what you mean by bad Scotch. Because, like, for example, like bottom end blended Scotch, you might consider that bad. But the thing is everyone's got a particular preference. So, for example, if you might consider J&B Rare blended Scotch to be a terrible Scotch, but maybe that's a great Scotch to put in a mixed drink. I don't know. I'm not a cocktail or mixed drink enjoyer, so I don't know these things. But it depends on your personal barometer of what is like bad, right? But for example, for me, something like J&B Rare or like probably like Johnny Red, or a lot of like the bottom end blended Scotches are not like very suitable to drink neat. They're not really made for that, right? So those would be bad Scotches for my purpose. But there's also some people who might say, well, even a 12-year-old Scotch that's at 40% alcohol, that might be a bad Scotch to some people too, because they're used to drinking things that are higher proof, higher age statement, maybe older, and I don't mean older in terms of age statement, but like older in terms of like they like to drink older vintages, for example, like maybe a 12-year-old whiskey, but it was bottled 20, 30 years ago, this kind of idea. Personal preference, absolutely. Again, that's what's king. I think when you're talking about distilled spirits, is everyone has their own personal flavor memory, flavor preference, and flavor recall. So it's all about how you drink it and what you like, and that's what's important at the end of the day. That being said, we can still have a preference that, you know, hey, 40% alcohol is not our preference. You know, we would prefer single malt, not blends, but you know, there's some blends that are okay. It really depends. But yeah, I typically don't like blended scotch because I find that when you vat a bunch of different distilleries together, the unique and interesting, challenging individual characteristics of those particular distilleries don't stand out very well, and you kind of get a more ubiquitous, generic product, which is a little less interesting for someone like me. But that doesn't mean it has to be bad. There's some fairly good blended scotches around, and I have a couple. But we like single malt for sure. That's definitely our preference, just because it accentuates those things that are unique about that particular distillery's character. But yeah, so here we are with our Blancs here. And of course, since we're talking about Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, this is a natural color. There's no E150 can be used here. Right off the nose right now, I'm getting a little bit of like kind of a higher rye spice, like maybe slight dill note. A little bit of woody characteristics. Yellow bulb or LED? This is just like a white kind of bulb light that's in the middle here. There's no yellow. That's all the color in the... Oh, for the ceiling? Yeah, so I have 3 lights. There's like 3 rings like this. I got 3 rings. I got 1 here, I got 1 there, and I got 1 there. And then overhead, I have just a regular ceiling light. That is roughly temperature. It's a bulb that's temperature adjusted to the same as the ring lights, basically. The light and camera affects the color. Yeah, so these are all like fairly neutral. There's no yellow light coming through here, basically, because I have a green screen. Obviously, it's obvious on this camera. On this camera, it's obvious that there's a green screen right there, but it's all more kind of like bright, cool light and not warm light. There is a light underneath this here, but yeah, there's no yellow light hitting this. But of course, one of the interesting things that I know is all it depends on your monitor too. Like if I look at my own recording of this, and I just change the preview from one monitor to the next, this dram will look a little bit different in color. And that's because everyone's monitors, LEDs, are a little bit different too. I have 3 monitors from 3 different manufacturers, and they all have a different color slightly. So it all depends. It all depends a little bit. But yeah, I'm getting a little bit of a hit of those kind of like rye characteristics. That vanilla is there, but it's kind of quiet right now. There's a slight woody aspect, and a slight like baking spice. We'll say cinnamon spice kind of aspect to it. Rye characteristic, yeah. So this particular whiskey has at least 15% rye whiskey, or not rye whiskey, but rye grain in the mash bill used to make the whiskey. So rye kind of tends to have some kind of spicier, more herbal, green characteristics, as well as some like licorice type characteristics. So there's definitely some amount of the dram hitting me right now that is kind of like rye forward. These are notes that would come from rye grain. At first, it was kind of hitting me like a little bit kind of dill, like an up higher, like on the spicy kind of spectrum on like dill, on like the baking spice, but it's kind of waning as we kind of like sit with it a little bit. It's not gonna be anything wild like star anise or anything like that. The nose is pretty tame. It's kind of like hitting me right now like again, there's a woody aspect, and there's a little bit of corn grain, but not a lot. It's kind of like a certain kind of like red fruit kind of sweetness.
I'm a Prime customer. What's above being a Prime customer?
What's above being a Prime customer? That is not like super duper easy to describe. It's not like cherry though. It's almost like a red gummy, like a Swedish berry. A red gummy. I appreciate your Prime subscription. Just so you know, if you want, if you gotta go, it's good. But we have a community infinity bottle. So if you get with your Prime subscription, you can add any whiskey that I have of your choice into our community infinity bottle here. These things are all available on anything in green on this list. And also there is some extra goodies available on the Discord server. So if you want to join us on Discord, there's some extra channels, some extra goodies. But you can hit me with that anytime. If you gotta go, that's cool. I appreciate your Prime subscription. Thank you. Again, we do this kind of tasting every day, typically around this time. But I'd love to have you. Nothing above being a Prime customer. All right, so it's not hitting me with the vanilla like I remember, but it's got like a little bit of rye character, a little bit of like red sweet fruit thing going on, and a little bit of like woodiness. All right, so on the palate, Blanton single barrel 2024 dumping. Cheers. Right on the attack on the palate. A little bit of that kind of like corn grain, corn bread kind of note. You get some of that butteriness from the corn. And then you kind of have a growing woody character that accompanies it. Kind of into the back of the palate. You get a little bit of that growing baking spice. In the early finish, you kind of get a spike in that spice. You still get a little bit of that kind of like sweet corn character. And of course, you got some oak wood kind of like taking it out there. There's not nearly as much vanilla as I remember, but here's the thing too, is I do know that every time we've had this kind of turn into a vanilla bomb, it takes some time for that to happen. Like we have it turn into a vanilla bomb, like after it's been sitting in the glass for like 15 or 20 minutes. So we're going to give it a little bit of time at least to kind of develop. That being said, the expression of flavor is pretty good. There's a couple good, strong flavors. We're not hunting for flavors. Finish is like maybe medium minus in intensity. Could use a little more, but it's not short. the strongest characteristic that's obvious to me right now is kind of like a sweet corn and oakiness, rather than like the big vanilla characters that I'm expecting from the last time we've had this a particular whiskey. That being said, it's been a while since we've touched this bottle, so it may have had some changes in its development, I suppose. Oh, it's coming. No. Yeah, that vanilla's coming. Yeah, I think this is gonna smell like vanilla now. from now on. We got through that original like set of a few interesting differences here. And now it's just vanilla. It's just sweet vanilla. I don't want to say vanilla ice cream because it doesn't have that kind of like dairy characteristic, but it's like a vanilla syrup. There is a slight spicy characteristic to this though, like a little bit more, a little bit kind of like that herbal rye, slightly spicy thing. It's in there a little more than I remember. That kind of like a slightly red, kind of like a Swedish berry, kind of artificial red fruit flavor's gone. We're mostly in that vanilla, buttery corn, and slightly spicy, kind of herbal character. Oh, so heavy. It's so heavy on the vanilla. It's nice. Like, it's nice to be this heavy on the vanilla to a certain extent, but it is kind of overriding maybe some interesting characteristics they may be hidden. I'm glad that we kind of were able to explore a little bit of those on the first kind of initial nosing. Yeah, the finish starts a little bit of baking spice, spike of oak, that kind of like sweet. It's kind of like coming out kind of like a butterscotch to me, like a sweet butterscotch character. But the oakiness is kind of mostly what lingers. Maybe a slight herbal note. I will say the mouthfeel is suffering a little bit for me. It is feeling a little bit like not as thick as I would like on the palate. The actual texture is a little lacking. The flavor is pretty good and intense. But the actual texture of the liquid kind of feels like it could use a little bit of oomph. Of course, it is 46% alcohol, which is not bad, but, or 46.5. But it's not, you know, it's not the most raw form. Obviously, they're diluting this from probably somewhere in the 60% ABVs. So we'll give it one more kind of round here, and then we'll talk about some numbers. Oh, it's so vanilla. Wowzers. I was almost doubting it for a second. I was sitting here going, well, you know, maybe it developed away. Maybe open air. It's been 3-4 months, you know. No. Oh, it is so rich. Man. It's such a strong, rich, vanilla character. That smells delicious. The only thing is I don't really get it on the palate. Like, it's not hitting me on the palate. It's not like I drink it and it's like, oh yeah, vanilla ice cream. It's not like that. But on the nose, it's all that's there. Like, I think if I really hunt inside that sweet note, I kind of feel like I get some of that vanilla in that sweet note. In that kind of like slightly butterscotchy sweet note. I feel like I get some of it in there. But it's not like, oh yeah, clearly all the vanillas. It's not like that on the palate. Alright, so let's talk about the aroma. At a 25. So initially we had kind of a mix of like rye and herbal spicy characteristics. We had some oakiness. We had some buttery corn kind of character. We got a little bit of like kind of like artificial red fruit. And then that kind of like evolves over time into like just pure vanilla ice cream, vanilla syrup, creamy vanilla note with a slight amount of herbal rye presence. Man, it's really nice actually. The initial notes kind of let you know that there's more than vanilla in this glass, but once you get to this point in its resting stage, it's just all vanilla to me. There's just nothing else there. And there's some merit, like just because, you know, just because we're not experiencing a wide breadth of flavor doesn't necessarily mean that there's some merit in that concentrated vanilla flavor that's quite appetizing, in fact. But that being said, it's not doing a ton of different things. If anything, this makes this bourbon a little bit unique because it had some of those typical, like, maybe slightly higher rye characteristics, some like typical bourbon characteristics, and then kind of had a development to be slightly overpowering vanilla, which kind of makes it a little bit unique. But in terms of the wide breadth of notes, the horizontal set of notes it has, it's well within the bourbon territory. And of course, the intensity of the vanilla is like double that of everything else. But those initial aromas were still very detectable at first. That being said, they weren't super overpowering and super intense, but we kind of were able to detect them without too much difficulty. So out of 25, what we call the aroma. To me, there's several strong notes in here, but not like all of them are super strong. We had to pick a little bit at some of them. We're going to go with 18 out of 25 on the aroma. All right, so on the palate, again, on the attack, you do get some of that creamy, kind of buttery corn characteristic, some sweet, kind of like vanilla, kind of butterscotchy thing, and a growing oakiness. that kind of reaches the back palate with some baking spice. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good, you know. The texture is not the greatest, but that isn't really impacting my enjoyment of the palate. Quite like the palate. Pretty good. Nothing crazy though. 16. Now we're going to talk about the finish, which is not the longest and not the most complex. Finish is probably the worst part. It is just long enough, but not super long. And the kind of notes that you get are kind of the notes you expect from bourbon finishes. You get some oakiness, you get some spiciness, and a little bit of that sweet character. I think there is a twinge of like herbal something on the finish of this one. The rye is putting in its share. Kind of spice and oak right at the start of the finish. You get a little bit of that kind of like sweet, kind of butterscotchy kind of note, but it's very minor. Yeah, and there's like a little bit of herbal something kind of at this point of the finish. And then it kind of just goes oak and spice and out. We'll give the finish 16. So the texture of this one, again, not the most impressive. You can definitely tell it's a little bit on the thinner side. It's not super thick or anything. It's not really coating the palate in a very like oily or it doesn't kind of hit the palate in a very luscious way or viscous way. It's a little bit on the thinner side. Call it a 4 out of 10. It's feels barely good enough to be considered above a thin rating. So my personal experience with this Blanton's original single barrel, I think ultimately it's not bad. It's typical 46.5% ABV whiskey, not whiskey, bourbon. This is kind of like what you expect, I think, roughly from this ABV of bourbon. The one thing that's kind of poking this up a little bit is that kind of weird like transition into full vanilla. That makes it a little bit more interesting than your typical bottle. And that might not really realistically happen with every Blanton's you're going to get. This particular barrel of Blanton's, whatever it is about it, it kind of drinks like your kind of run-of-the-mill 46 roughly ABV bourbon, and then turns on this vanilla thing, which makes it kind of really interesting experience. So we have to rate this particular barrel of Blanton's, not Blanton's as a whole. You might get bottles of Blanton's that are like pretty much run-of-the-mill, the same as what you get out of like Elijah Craig small batch or Buffalo Trace regular bottle or whatever. You might get ones that are very similar to that. But this particular barrel, it's got something going for it. It's got a little bit more going for it. Yeah, love you vids. I'm the guy you heard it. All right. Thank Cash VR. Thank you. Appreciate your support. So that being said, we have to give it a little bit more. It's not a forgettable bourbon amongst all the bourbons of the world. There may be barrels of Blanton's that are like that, but this particular barrel, it's a little bit different. It's got an interesting thing going on with it. And I like that. I like interesting things. So this particular barrel, I'm going to give an 8 out of 15 because it stands out. This vanilla character stands out like no other against every bourbon that I have, even cask strength ones. None of them are hitting this kind of vanilla note. So it is standing out in an interesting way, this particular barrel. That being said, everything else going on here could happen on any kind of, mid-range, not cask strength bourbon. It's doing everything else in that realm is very similar to what you get from those bottles. But there's a unique component for this barrel that is particularly interesting. And that's how we kind of have to judge it. So 18 and 16 and 16 and 4 and 8 is 62. 62 out of 100. It's good. It's a good whiskey. This is a good bourbon. I'm not sure. There's probably Blanton's barrels that exist that get into the great realm. But this particular one is kind of just a high good for me. But still pretty good. It'd be interesting. I maybe next time around, after things stop being weird in Canada with American whiskey, I might buy some more Blantons, because clearly the Blantons are flowing around here when we do eventually get them. So I might buy a couple more Blantons, maybe like not from the same case, but like try to get a couple different barrels and just see what happens, how much the barrel variation really exists with this particular product. Because I think that would be interesting. I think it'd be an interesting experiment. Because they probably won't all be like vanilla bomby like this. Like you would think that they would kind of stray closer to like pretty normal bourbon notes and not be super vanilla-y. But that's the wild ride, and I think that's the interesting thing about single barrel products that really makes them unique. And how, like, for example, if you are a bourbon enjoyer, these vatted bourbons are all really similar, right? You get kind of the same high quality Kentucky bourbon for a really reasonable price, without having to pay too much to get intense flavors like you might have to do with Scotch whiskey or Irish whiskey or Canadian whiskey, where you really need it to be a little more. You need to pay a little more to get the flavors that are not 40% watery kind of stuff. That being said, I could definitely see, if you were a bourbon enjoyer, if just going out and getting different single barrels of all your, there's a world there to explore with single barrels and barrel picks. I think that really, I can understand how someone could be just into bourbon. If you just had vatted bourbon available to you, I think it'd be really hard to be just into bourbon. It would be so samey. But definitely there's a world, I think, where these single barrel products kind of do some weird things that really make them interesting. Like maybe you have one that is so rye and so licorice and so dill. Maybe you get another one that's so rich and creamy and sweet and no spice and no rye, even though they're all the same mash bill. And maybe you got some that are like the woody character is not quite oaky and it's a little different and it's got some other things going on there. You could definitely have a world where those bourbons all exist in the world of single barrel picks. So that's really interesting. An interesting vector on bourbon. That being said, even though this is like strong vanilla in a very interesting way, it doesn't change the ballpark, right? So that's one of the things that we love about Scotch, of course, is because not only can you have a single barrel of Scotch, which they do release sometimes, but you're going from, you know, one end of the spectrum to the other, where this is still playing in that same playing field. You might just get ones that are closer to the fringe. But that's why we love all kinds of different spirits. They all have something interesting to offer, and why this is a terrible hobby for your wallet. You should definitely, if you want to save money, do not do this. This rabbit hole never ends. There's as many unique whiskeys as there is barrels, and there's millions of barrels. And this just reminds us of that fact. But not bad. I enjoy this blends, and really not because of anything unique I think that Blends is doing, just simply because this particular barrel happened to be really cool with the vanilla thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if you bought like another 10 of these and they were all kind of like samey and not like this one. I think this one is maybe a little bit of a gem. But I don't know. Maybe a lot of Blantons are like that. Maybe a lot of Blantons are similar. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. But this one at least, 62 score. And this was review number 50. This one here was review number 50. So my next thing I got to do today. I got to do it today, really, but we'll see what time we have. What I got to do today is I got to post all the reviews that are backlogged into the Discord. So we'll have 50 reviews done. 6 months roughly of reviews. And if I can kind of get my wits about me tomorrow, what we'll do is we'll start doing like a little mini segment about the 50 reviews that I've done, kind of piece by piece. And I think what tomorrow will be, we'll probably do something like the bottom 10, the worst 10 that we did. And I don't know if any of the past 5 that we've reviewed ended up in that bottom 10. But there's some rough ones in there. We'll talk about our bottom 10 here, I think, tomorrow, which if it's the bottom 10 that's on Discord right now, which it might be, it's got some doozies in there. Of course, there's the Sexton, which still is, I think that was like my second review or my first review or something. No, it was like one of my very first reviews was the Sexton, and it's still the worst whiskey I've reviewed. But that Canadian Club 20-year-old is not much better. So we'll be talking about bangers like those. And then we'll kind of just do a recap roughly of over the next week or so of the 50 reviews that we've done so far. And then the idea is in the future we'll talk more about how these reviews rank, and we'll get to a place where we're in our top 100. Once we've done our 100 reviews, we'll have a top 100. Yeah, we did the blends. Not bad. It was not bad. It's good. It's pretty good. Where did this land? Roughly around like somewhere in the 20
in the middle, slightly upper middle pack, I guess. And yeah, so we'll keep an interesting tally of my top 100 whiskeys, and maybe once a year or something like that, we'll talk about my top 100 whiskeys. Because once you have more than 100 whiskeys, that means there could be ones outside of the top 100 that really suck. Cracking my bottle on my bachelor party. You should let me know. Now, I know if you're after your bachelor party and you're probably already like 3 beers in, you're not going to be much for the tasting notes on your blends. But if you think of it, you can let me know how your bottle turns out. Because again, this is what we were just talking about. Is this one for me? It's pretty bourbon, typical bourbon, but eventually it goes all vanilla syrup, vanilla ice cream on the nose, like in a very like loud and distinct way, and there's no other notes coming out of the glass other than vanilla. So I'd be interested to know if your barrel is like that too, or if it's just this barrel, because every barrel is different. But we'll see. Cigar and bourbon thing, not a drunken stupor. Oh, okay. I just assumed that, knowing you, there would be brew involved, not just cigars and bourbon. But yeah. I didn't know how, what kind of, I don't know if you were in the mood for the drunken stupors seedy strip bar kind of bachelor party or not. Sometimes beer gets too heavy. Interesting. I always consider beer to be lighter, but I think I know what you mean, because if it's more filling, beer is more filling than spirits is. It's like a lighter liquid, but you're drinking more of it, right? A whole weekend. Holy. I didn't have a bachelor party. Does that mean I'm owed a bachelor party? Not only my wife would need a bachelorette party. I don't think I would have anyone to... Some port from 2017. Ooh, what is that? Chad will take you on a bachelor party. What is this port you got? I'm curious. Like, there's not much selection here for port, like in terms of what I can get locally. So I'm just curious what it is. Because I'm like not a wine guy, but some of those fortified spirits, fortified wines, I feel like I could try them, you know. Like regular old wine, I'm like, nah. But like fortified wine, I'm like, well, maybe. Crow Next, you're back. Welcome back. Dalva 1992 Reserve. Ferrera Reserve. Forget the year. Yeah, that's the thing about port. Is port kind of like wine, where like there's certain vintages that are certain years that are supposed to be really good? Is it like, well, if you got this vintage, it's like really good at like after like 20 years or something like that? Or people like crack the vintage and they like review it and they're like, oh yeah, if you have this vintage, it's really good right now, you need to open it, kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah, port's fortified. Yeah. I'm just curious. Well, this is the exact one. I didn't even type in 1992. C. De Silva Dalva Port, 1992. Oh, fancy. Was real nice with cigars? Yeah. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know that part. What happened to my sounds? They went away. Yeah, the only experience I have with port is like one time I bought that 10-year-old Sandeman, and it was so sweet. Like it was so like holy fuck, like way too way too sweet. But I do mean to try some like all of the common like barrel wines. I'll be back later. Okay. I intend to try them like on their own at some point, like Oloroso sherry, Pedro Menez sherry. What else is there? Like there's like port and Manzanilla, and Amontillado. These are all like things I want to like try in their original essence. Some of them are quite sweet. Yeah, the what I was looking at was like these Sandeman ones, and it's a very popular brand, but it's like the younger ones were like way more sweet and fruity, and then like the older ones were like way more nutty. So it like depended on like where you wanted to be on that scale, you know? But obviously the ones that are like younger and way more sweet and way more fruit forward are the cheaper ones, right? So all that reminds me, I don't know if you guys ever seen, it's kind of really interesting. On my feed on YouTube, I ended up getting this guy. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. It's slightly interesting, but it's not my world. He's a guy he's a wine sommelier in Vegas, and when someone orders like a fucking crazy wine, he'll like make a video of him opening it and stuff. Yeah, you must know the same guy, like, because I just seen one the other day and it made me think of just mentioning it just because I thought it was so interesting, and we're in the same kind of world roughly. Is like he opened a Ukrainian wine that was like commissioned by the Russian Tsar, and like the vintage was 1900, so it's like 125-year-old wine. And I was like, holy fuck. that's something. And it's like for 2 ounces it's $500 for 2 ounces. They sell it by the glass, and for 2 ounces, $500. It's a $5,000 bottle. Probably tastes like pennies, like maybe, but you know the guy was like, and it's kind of funny because the guy's like, he's like, half of what he says is like, oh, sophisticated sommelier language, and then the other half is like, this guy is clearly a millennial. Like he's saying like, bro, this is so crazy. It's like blah, blah, blah sommelier language. Let me find the video. Maybe we'll like, I'll show you what I mean. Because I thought it was so cool. Despite the fact that I don't like wine at all. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. It's a white wine and it's like brown. Okay, so let's just understand that for a minute. Yeah, it's kind of cool. This one, I'm assuming this is the same guy that you've watched. Hold on, I gotta kill this audio. But I thought this was so cool. You guys will let me know if the audio is good or not.
All right. Bam. See that? Ukraine, baby. Massandra 1900 vintage.
But I just think it's so funny that it's like the guy's like vocabulary is like half like millennial garbage and half like high class wine sommelier. I just find that like juxtaposition so interesting.
So this is gonna take a little wiping to be presentable. So I'm gonna pick this up. Let's see this thing.
Whoa! Look at that shit.
That is a crazy bottle. Look at this bottle, dude. Talk about like shipwreck. I mean, but look at it. The cork is always perfect in these bottles, dude.
The first one you ever opened,
I did the glass, yeah. But I can't reseal it when you do that.
Yeah,
So that's the tough part.
Good thing the corks are.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like to make it look good. Like they double filter it and re-decanter it and clean the bottle and filter the stuff.
Ooh, my goodness.
It's he makes it look real good. That's the thing, right? Look at that junk,
Sediment?
dude.
It's crazy.
So like the customer never knows that it looked like it came off of a fucking derelict ship.
There's going to be a lot of debris. So you guys can see the cork inside of here. It actually looks, it's really nice, right? There's a lot of sediment inside of there. But this clay, very hard. But it is cracked right now, so I might be able to just kind of crack it off. Yep, exactly. That's exactly what I want. You know, the crazy part about this is, you know, on the label it does say Massandra. It was established by the last Tsar of Russia in 1894, and throughout time it changed hands to Joseph Stalin, and during, you know, World War II.
That's the crazy thing actually to think about for me with like videos like this is like that bottle. Like just think for a second all the shit that's happened in the European continent since 1900. That bottle survived a lot of bullshit. And that's the crazy part about like drinking a liquid like that you know that this thing survived all that bullshit.
When Russia was very nervous about Germany, they sent all of the precious liquids of Russia to Massandra, which Massandra is in the Crimea Peninsula, as you can see here, produced in the Crimea, and it's obviously Ukraine, right? So it has port entry. So all the liquid was sent there so it can be safe from the Germans. They sent it to Georgia, and then after World War II ended, they sent it all back to Massandra, and then Massandra dispersed everything throughout Russia. And then in the early 90s, a very small lot of this was sold and went to auction, and that's where the Rio picked it up, and that's where we were able to receive it from the Rio.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, he knows exactly. But it's just interesting to have that language exposition, right? Because he's just a normal dude, but he's just crazy. Like, this is his job, right? He just knows all the stuff.
Ooh, see, it just like slides out of this thing. It's crazy how well the corks have maintained its structure.
Guy
over
opened a wine from 1900.
124 years.
1900.
That's the crazy part.
What?
For the year before.
No, 1900. Oh, you're saying I'm 125 years
The
old.
cork is so small. Isn't that insane? But it holds its structure so well. Look at that. 1894. Bro, for that long, for the cork to actually
Pretty sure a sire.
and barely have any seepage at all.
A ghost came
That's insane.
out.
Like, legitimately, I'm always baffled.
There's a
by how
genie in
small
that
the corks are in
bottle.
this thing. Dude, it's insane, bro. Dude, 1900. Okay.
It's white muscat, but look at the color.
Just got it out.
It's been oxidizing for 125 years.
A napkin with me. So I'll show you guys the color here. Look at that. Dude, that is a crazy color wine. It's like
He's
a
gonna
rare
filter
wine.
it.
Dude, crazy.
Wine
400
shouldn't have solids.
grams of sugar per liter. That nose is like I get like this menthol candy cane thing, and then
Menthol
you have
candy
apricot
cane.
jam, and
Apricot
you have,
jam.
like, orange marmalade, like
Orange
it is
marmalade.
so concentrated. Isn't that crazy? Dude, that wine is crazy. Now, obviously, this is old, so there's a lot of sediment. So I'm gonna decant this, double decant it, and put it back in the bottle. But man, insane wine. So now I'm gonna go ahead and double decant this thing to clarify it. You guys want to see how much sediment is inside of this bottle? It is insane. So I know I have a filter here. I'm still gonna show you guys exactly how much sediment is in this bottle. This thing is gonna be sludgy. Perfect.
Look at the color of that. Cheesecloth, yeah.
I mean, I could barely even see through with how dark the sediment has stained the inside of this glass for that.
Looks like iodine, yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like,
So this
that's
is
white
cheesecloth
wine.
I'm using to kind of filter this wine.
It looks like my morning pee. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's a white wine. It's white. It's white Muscat, Ben. Hell no. Yeah, that's not a red.
Man.
You say you're not in for $500 for 2 ounces of that?
Look at that sludge in there. Whoa, that is insane. Look at that. Stored properly on its side, but man, that is sludgy. And then you got all the sediment.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we rinse the bottle as much as we can, right? I mean, obviously, you know, there's even some numbers on here too. So now we're going to put it back in here. This is a double decanting so that we can clarify everything.
Every time I've had it, it's tasted differently. I've had
Dude,
it probably 5 times.
that's
now.
what I'm saying,
So
dude.
different.
It always has the same sweetness, but there is definitely something
This
extremely
one tastes
unique.
like, you know, like when you cook off orange juice?
Yes.
That's exactly what it tastes like.
Tastes like when you cook off
Dude,
orange
so
juice.
Sweet and delicious. And now we're double decanted, back in the bottle. Bam! And now I can serve it by the glass if I want to.
Look how dark that is.
Now we're gonna unique, sweet and delicious. And now we're double decanted, back in the bottle. Bam!
You're telling me that's a white wine. Look, it's a black, dude. It's darker than bourbon.
How much is the bottle cost?
$5,000. Yeah. Yeah, $5,000 for chunky white wine. Yeah, that's right. Too poor to get it. I don't know if he has other good ones. I think there was one I just read that looked like he was serving what do you call it? Louis XIII. Yeah, actually this is more relevant to us too. Yeah, he's got a syringe.
All right. Time has come. Yes, please. So this is the amazing Louis XIII, okay? So the fun fact about Louis as a person was actually the King of France before his 9th birthday. So born in 1601 and became the King of France 1610. So it's pretty crazy to run an entire country as a 9-year-old, right? Or right before you're 9.
At least your mother did.
Agreed. 1000%. There we go. So this is in reference to the kingdom, right? So this is obviously a beautiful crown. It's supposed to be all hand-blown Baccarat crystal. And this is from the region of Cognac, kind of near that Bordeaux region that I gave you that red wine for your main course. And what they're doing is they're making a wine first. The wine is actually made from 3 grapes. The 3 grapes are from the Cognac region. They're Uni Blanc, Colombard, and Folie Blanche. And what they do is they distill the wine twice, and the liquid that comes out of the still, it goes into French Limousin oak barrels. So some of the most sought after oak barrels in the world. And then it spends an average age of 100 years inside of those oak barrels before it's ever sold to the market. So the very interesting part,
I didn't know it was that old. That being said, he very deliberately uses the word average age of 100 years. So that means there's going to be a lot younger than 100 years in there too. But that being said, it's actually very surprising, knowing how whiskey works, that if the average age is 100 years, that means there's barrels in there that like were what you would call, they probably were so low they were recombined into bigger barrel, like because a lot of Scotch, like you can't get that old, like it'll literally go dry, like the barrel will never make it that old. So it's curious that they make it that old.
Process ultimately will not be able to taste their finished product. They'll be able to taste the product throughout the life of the aging, but not the finished product, because it's going to be an average age of 100 years. So the color reflects the oak. So there's a lot of dried fruit flavors just due to the grapes that go into making this a wine.
The other thing too that I'm thinking is if this is 100-year-old cognac and it has boisé in it, it probably tastes like wood. Like I don't know. We'll have to ask Cap. He's had some of this before, but I would think it would taste straight like wood. Like it would literally taste like eating wood. But
first, so the grapes, you're going to have more of the dried apricots, the dried peaches. It should smell a little bit like orange. Think of like toasted orange zest. Due to the oak influence, now you're going to have the smell of almost like the top of a freshly made creme brulee, and then you have that dark caramel, brown sugar. This is high in alcohol. There's around 41% alcohol, so I do recommend putting
41%. Ooh, oh boy!
Around until the burning sensation stops. You're just trying to naturally dilute it. Once the burning sensation stops, it's going to take a second.
Burning sensation at 41%.
Breathe deeply out of your nose. And then you're going to get the finish of all the oak influenced spices and the dried fruit profile. You want to take a picture?
Everyone wants a picture.
It really is a spectacular cognac. It's gorgeous. 18.
Yeah, I don't know what he's charging, but roughly this glass is probably like $300 for this. This is a big bottle too. This is a 175. That's a bigger. If you pay all that money and don't like it, fucking sucks to be you.
18-karat gold around the neck.
What do you do with the bottles when you're done?
When we sell out of it, usually it's the last person to drink.
No, they just pay for. That's not a decanter. That is the bottle. That's the bottle that it comes in. Like if we go to MB Liquor, there's one of these there. Oh yeah, no, not with cognac. With cognac, it's even this guy though. He's saying like he's selling those wines by the glass, and that would mean that he's assuming he's going to sell the whole thing. So they must be such a demand where he's at, because all rich people, that he can expect to sell that 1900 vintage wine within a week. Oh, wow. Yeah, it wouldn't be that much of a difference, probably. You pretend you like it. Yeah.
Drink it. They get the bottle. Yeah.
Oh, he said if you finish the bottle, you get to keep the bottle.
You just pay.
If you're the last person to get a yeah. I wonder what else he has here. I wonder if I can even tell. This is cognac. These are all cognac. So this is Hennessy. They're here. This thing. That's Hennessy. It's a Hennessy of some kind. This looks like a Martell bottle. Is that the ship? I can't tell if this is the ship. Larson has a ship that looks like waves from the ship, but I don't know if that's it or not. See if I can find some other interesting ones. He's got a bunch of videos on here, but some of them I just don't know anything about. Like, for example, some of these are like he's opening like a wine from like 1999. And it's like, well, that doesn't sound nearly as impressive, right? But it's apparently like I don't know, it's like a big deal or something. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know anything about these things, right? I'm trying to see if there's any more spirits. That's kind of like what I'm looking for. Because this would that would be like a really kind of a really cool job, but at the same time, it's like it's still it's still customer service at the end of the day, and you're also serving people who are really fucking rich. So I'm sure some of those people are hard to please. I don't see any other like spirits. There's probably someone doing that kind of thing. Hey, Mr. Bee's Knees. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's anything else here that's like super duper sticking out at me. Either way. Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. Like I said, we're on 50. That's our 50th review. So we'll do some more, a little bit of extras with that. I'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, same things. Hopefully on time. I haven't been on time recently. Hopefully on time. But yeah. Until next time, have a great day.